Today we're looking at the sliding tapered dovetail. What is a sliding tapered dovetail? It is a joint that tightens up. It's tapered. It goes in loose, and as you push it across the board, it tightens up. Ideally, what you look for when it gets down, like this is cherry hardwood, I try to shoot for, say, it goes in and tightens up about a ½ inch out. Then you can take your mallet and just tap that last ½ inch in. You got a nice tight fit. A lot of the old timers, they would just stop right there. They wouldn't even glue it. But a sliding dovetail, when you slide it through, the further you go, the more friction you get. In order to get all the way in, it's got to be on the loose side. I've got a jig I'd made for the bandsaw, a circle cutting jig, and I used a form of sliding dovetail on it. I didn't want it to tighten up, but I didn't want much slack. But I got a little pin in it for the center, and then you just slide that thing back to the radius you're looking for, clamp it down and go on and do what you got to do. That's one way you can use a sliding dovetail, but a tapered is designed to tighten up as it gets home. For instance, the legs and the skirts on the table, use a sliding dovetail with it, a tapered sliding dovetail with it. You calculate it to where, like say, no more than 1 inch, kind of the heart of the wood that you don't want to drive it so hard you damage your wood. Hardwood, about a ½ inch. You drive it in that last ½ inch and you got it. And that locks everything together without fasteners. And I always glued them, but if you do them right, you don't even have to do that. And then the stretcher to go across from skirt to skirt, and you do the same thing. And it just locks everything together. Good, strong joint. Bookcase. You tapered sliding dovetail, and you slide them shelves in, taper them in, drive them in when they home up. A bookcase has a tendency to swell as you load it. Them dovetails, it'll just make that shelf, lock in that much harder. And it helps keep from the swagging part. But that's a good, strong joint right there. And if you come into those situations, you might want to look at, be nice to have that in your arsenal. Whenever you start the socket portion of it, the dado portion of it, what I like to do is go with a straight bit to get the bulk out of it. That way you're not putting a lot of pressure on the dovetail bit. So once you get the bulk of it down, then you can come back and put your dovetail bit in, and then without ever moving your fence, because you want to do it with your plunge router. Because like I say, a bookcase could be so big, it'd be hard to put it on a router table and make a pass, and you form the dovetail. The tapering part comes so you move one side of your fence 1/16 of an inch. I've got a piece I just happen to have that's exactly 1/16, and that will work no matter how wide you're going. So what you do is you slide one side of your fence to that 1/16 and lock it down. Make one more pass with your dovetail, and now you've tapered that dovetail. The depth of the socket needs to be the height of your blade. Give you the exact depth, and I take it to combination square then, and I adjust my bit height to that. So you take the same piece, and the height of your blade you want to move up. You don't want as you go through to cut your piece. So mine's 5/8, so I moved my shim 5/8, taped it to my other piece that's gonna have the dovetail. Then you adjust your fence where you're just barely cutting, and you want to sneak up on this first one. You keep moving, and remember, when you move that fence, say you move that fence a 32nd, by the time you cut both sides of your workpiece, you're actually taking a 16th off. So whatever you move is times 2 because you're making a pass on each side. So you take your time and dial this thing in because it's real easy to go completely by it. We gotta check the test fit. We like just a little. But when you get it down to where it just fits in there, and you have to drive that last 1/2 inch in or 3/4 of an inch in to make the fit, you've done it. Now you can cut the rest of the dovetail portions of it. But take your time on that first one. Get it dialed in like it needs to be, and the rest of them just fall into place. So it's starting to fit now. All right, looks like, yeah, we want to take off enough. Now we got to take off a little bit, because whatever you move the fence, it takes it off both sides, so it's times 2. So what we need to do is we want to take it off to where we get about a 1/2 inch, and then we can drive it in the rest of the way. Here now. That's about what we're looking for. Drive that on in, it'll tighten right up. In doing this, I had a little tear out right there. And if you had a block to go behind it, a push block, something to keep it from doing it, would be ideal. But this right here, it's a little loose. I mean, when you sneak up on that thing, you really got to be patient and dial that thing right in. Like I said earlier, a lot of old timers, they wouldn't even glue it. I would. You know, that joint right there, I would probably put a little glue on it, hammer it together, because it come out just a tick loose. But when you're working that fence, you just, on that first one, see, you cut all the groove part, then you come back and do the dovetail end. Then when you dial that first one in, you just go through and catch all the rest of it. And it, dial it in, show patience. You'll have a really good, strong joint. Yeah. So, hope that helps. What I thought about doing next video is doing the same thing, but with all hand tools. Never done one, nothing but hand tools, but I'm thinking about trying it. I'll tell you what we could do. On the next video, we'll learn it together. I've seen it done, but I've never actually done a tapered sliding dovetail by hand. But I think we will try that. Next week, we'll give that a try. Until next week, y'all be safe, and I'll catch you on the next one.